So, uh, what if everything you were taught about how money started is just a complete lie?
Right. I mean, we've all heard the standard story. Long before money existed, people just relied on the barter system. Like you had a chicken, your neighbor had a loaf of bread, and you just swapped them.
Exactly. It sounds completely illogical.
Yeah.
But anthropologists have actually spent over a century scouring historical records and isolated tribes, and they have never found a single society that actually worked this way.
Wait, never.
Not a single one. The whole barter economy is just a myth. So if we didn't start by trading chickens for bread, where did money actually come from?
Well, the answer is something much darker.
Yeah, it involves a hidden mechanism that literally dictates your life today. Welcome to the Missing Lessons, where we explain what school never did.
We spend our entire lives trying to earn, save, and spend money. Yet most of us are completely blind to the secret history operating right in our own pockets. It's this hidden mechanism that literally dictated how the world became rich.
And if you're enjoying the Missing Lessons, make sure to follow the show, leave a rating, and share it with someone who might find it interesting. It helps us create more deep dives and reach more curious minds.
So let's get into it. If money didn't start with swapping chickens for bread, how did it actually start?
Right, so we have to go back about 10,000 years to ancient Mesopotamia. The very first money wasn't a coin, and it definitely wasn't paper. It was simply debt,
Like just a memory?
literally just a memory. Picture a small Mesopotamian village, right? You help your neighbor fix their roof after a storm. They don't hand you a shiny piece of metal, they just owe you.
Oh, I see.
That favor just sits there, logged in the collective memory of the village. Money was invented not for shopping, but to keep score.
Okay, but how do you keep score purely from memory when a village turns into a sprawling city? I mean, you can't remember all those favors.
You can't. That is the exact friction point. So physical stand-ins appeared.
Yeah.
People used cattle. They used blocks of salt. Across parts of Africa and Asia, cowrie shells became this massive currency. But the real game changer happened around 650 BC in Lydia, which is in modern-day Turkey.
Right, because they solved a massive problem for merchants.
Exactly. The rivers there had this metal called electrum, which is like a natural mix of gold and silver. But every lump had a different purity. So doing business was painfully slow.
Because you had to test every single piece.
Right. So the Lydian king comes along and does something brilliant. He melts down the electrum, fixes the exact weight, and stamps his royal seal right on the front. It was the world's first true coin.
That is such a critical shift, though. I mean, this was the exact moment money and political power fused together.
Totally. It was promise, but it gave the ruling class a really dangerous temptation. Oh, and as a quick historical Easter egg, in the year 995, King Sven Tveskeg was the first to put his name on a Danish coin.
Really? Just to show off?
Literally just for the ultimate political flex and prestige. But back to that temptation. Once rulers controlled the coins, they figured out a magic trick. A way to create wealth out of thin air.
The inflation playbook.
Exactly. Rome turned this into an absolute science. Running the Roman Empire was unimaginably expensive. They had to pay this massive army. So the emperors took their pure silver denarius coins, melted them down, and mixed in cheap copper.
Just quietly watering down the money.
Right, and they re-stamped them with the exact same face value. They created money from nothing.
But people aren't stupid. They must have noticed.
Oh, they definitely noticed.
Yeah.
The result was that prices just absolutely skyrocketed and the currency collapsed entirely.
So did humanity learn its lesson after Rome?
Not at all. We just found new technologies to run the exact same scheme. Over in China, the Song dynasty invented the first paper money.
Because hauling heavy copper coins around was a nightmare for merchants.
Exactly. It was a brilliant solution until Kublai Khan and later emperors realized, hey, we can just print endless amounts of this stuff to fund our empire.
And since it's just paper, there's no physical limit anymore.
Right. They printed so much paper money that it lost all its value and eventually forced the Ming dynasty to crawl all the way back to heavy metal coins.
It's like this 10,000-year pattern. Power captures money, quietly drains its value, and then it just collapses.
It happens every single time. So to try and stop rulers from doing this, the world eventually tried chaining money to a rock, which was the gold standard.
But before the gold standard, didn't money become like an invisible network?
Yeah, that happened in Renaissance Italy. The Medici family basically turned money into this fast-moving, invisible web using things called bills of exchange.
And that was to hide interest, right? Because the church considered it a sin.
Exactly. They hid the profit inside currency exchange rates.
Right.
But eventually, to keep things grounded, the world moved to the gold standard. Every paper bill was just a promise for a fixed amount of physical gold sitting in a vault somewhere.
But what happens when a government gets truly desperate, like during a crisis?
Wars ruin the system. Always. During World War I, Germany printed so much money to pay their debts that by 1923, hyperinflation hit hard.
Oh, wow. The stories from that time are insane.
Yeah, a loaf of bread cost hundreds of billions of marks. People were literally burning paper money for heat because it was cheaper than buying firewood.
God, it's just terrifying.
It really is. Fast forward to 1944. The world needed stability, so they tied global money to the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar was tied to physical gold. But by the late 1960s, wars and really expensive government programs were draining America's gold vaults.
So they couldn't back it up anymore.
Exactly. The mask broke. On August 15th, 1971, President Nixon went on TV and permanently cut the tie between the dollar and gold.
Wait, let me just clarify this. So the money in our bank accounts today is backed by absolutely nothing.
Exactly. Nothing physical at all. It's called fiat money. It only has value because the government says it does, and we all just agree to pretend.
That is wild.
Yeah, and since 1971, the government can literally create money with a keystroke. That is exactly why the dollar has lost 80% of its purchasing power since then.
And we really saw the ultimate consequence of this limitless fiat money in our own lifetimes, didn't we?
We did. In 2008, the global financial system basically nearly collapsed because of risky bank loans.
Right, the housing crisis.
Yeah, and governments just created trillions of dollars out of thin air to bail out the banks, while everyday people lost their homes and their jobs.
But that moment sparked a rebellion, didn't it?
A massive one. In October 2008, an anonymous figure named Satoshi Nakamoto published a document creating Bitcoin.
Which fundamentally changed the rules.
Totally. It had a hard cap of 21 million. No one could ever print more, and no central king or central bank controlled it.
So it was basically a return to that original Mesopotamian idea of a public ledger.
Exactly, just brilliantly digitized.
But power never gives up control willingly. What is the government's countermove to something like Bitcoin?
Their countermove is central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. It's basically programmable digital money.
Programmable, like they control how it works.
Yeah, governments can track every single cent you spend. They can set your money to expire if you don't spend it fast enough, or literally block you from buying certain things. China is actually already rolling out the digital yuan right now.
Wow. This is why all of this matters so much to, a 20-year-old listening today.
Absolutely. When you're working a summer job, saving up for a car, or moving into your first apartment, inflation is this massive hidden tax on your time.
Have you ever noticed this in your own life? That your favorite snack or your regular coffee suddenly costs 30% more, but the packaging actually got smaller?
Right. The $20 bill in your pocket looks exactly the same as it did 5 years ago, but suddenly it buys way fewer groceries. That's not an accident.
No, it's the system working exactly as designed.
So how do you protect your wealth? You have to stop thinking of cash as a safe place to store your life's energy.
Right, you have to adapt.
Exactly. You need to understand the difference between fiat currency, which is literally designed to lose value over time, and real money, which are assets that are scarce and actually hold their value.
Becoming financially literate means realizing you are standing on a melting ice cube.
That is the perfect way to put it. You have to move your energy to something solid.
Here's a question for you. If you had to choose the money of the future, what would you trust more? A decentralized system like Bitcoin that nobody controls, or a government-backed digital currency that can be tracked but is officially supported? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.
So to wrap this up, the big takeaway here is that money isn't just an innocent tool for buying things. It is a quiet, immensely powerful machine that decides who holds power over whom.
Yeah, we've gone from memory to metal to paper to digital code.
But the power struggle remains exactly the same. For 10,000 years, the trick has always been that the people holding the money are the ones who understand it the least.
But right now, you are paying attention.
Exactly. The only question left is, who will hold the controls in the next chapter?
If you enjoyed this deep dive of the missing lessons, don't forget to follow the show, leave a rating, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us continue exploring the topics school never taught us.
But before we go, I want you to think about that $20 bill in your wallet one last time. If it's truly just a piece of paper backed by nothing more than a collective illusion, what happens the day we all decide to stop pretending?